The unfamiliar car sits in the driveway like an accusation. A black BMW, mud-splattered, with one of those stick-figure family decals on the back window. My grip tightens on the steering wheel as I pull in behind it, my knuckles white. Something is wrong. Mom and Dad don't drive a BMW. I sit in my car for a moment, listening to the tick of the cooling engine. 4 years of mortgage payments flash through my mind. $420,000 for the house, countless overtime hours, a bank account that never seems to grow, all to give my parents a stable retirement home. That was the deal. The spare key feels cold in my palm as I approach the front door. Voices drift through the walls. A man's laughter, a woman's higher response. Not my parents. My stomach knots as I slide the key into the lock and push the door open. The living room has changed. Gone is the faded floral couch I helped my mother pick out 4 years ago. In its place sits a sleek leather sectional I've never seen before. And on it, beer in hand, lounges my younger brother, Logan. Audrey! He looks up, surprise flickering across his face before settling into his usual, easy smile. Didn't know you were coming by today. I stand frozen in the entryway. What are you doing in Mom and Dad's house? A pregnant woman emerges from the kitchen, her hand resting protectively over her rounded belly. She stops when she sees me, confusion evident in her wide eyes. Logan, she asks softly. It's just my sister, he says, waving dismissively. Audrey, this is Melissa, my fiancée. I barely register the introduction. What are you doing in my parents' house? I repeat, my voice sharper. Logan raises an eyebrow and takes a casual sip of his beer. You mean my house? Mom and Dad moved out last month. They're renting a place closer to the lake. The floor seems to tilt beneath me. Your house. My hands tremble as I pull out my phone and step into the hallway for privacy. Mom answers on the 4th ring, her voice immediately defensive. Oh, Audrey. Yes, we were going to tell you eventually. Tell me what exactly? My voice sounds distant, like it belongs to someone else. That you gave away the house I've been paying for, to Logan? Now, don't be dramatic, she scolds. Put your father on the phone. A rustling sound, then my father's gruff voice. Audrey, what's this about the house? The house I'm paying $2,400 a month for. Why is Logan living there, claiming it's his? Then casually. Logan needs the house more than you do. He's starting a family. The way he says it, like we're discussing borrowing a sweater instead of a home I sacrificed everything for, makes my vision blur at the edges. I signed the mortgage papers. I've been making payments for 4 years. We had an agreement. Agreements change, Mom cuts in. You have a great job, you'll make that money back, Dad adds. He doesn't have the same opportunities you do. My mind flashes back to the day I signed the papers, to the pride in my parents' eyes as I committed to the mortgage, to their promises that this would be their forever home. I had believed them. I've paid over $100,000 toward that house, I whisper. And we appreciate it, Dad replies, sounding anything but appreciative. But family helps family. Logan needs a place for his baby. I end the call without another word, walk past my brother and his pregnant fiancée, and leave without looking back. My apartment feels small and shabby after the house. My house, with its gleaming hardwood floors and spacious rooms. I open my laptop and pull up the spreadsheet I've maintained religiously for 4 years. The numbers mock me. 4 years of mortgage payments. $115,200. Extra principal payments. $24,800. Property taxes covered. $18,400. Repairs and maintenance. $12,600. Over $170,000. Gone. Money that could have paid off my $60,000 student debt twice over. Money that could have been a down payment on my own place. Instead, I've been living in this 1-bedroom apartment with a dripping bathroom faucet and a neighbor who practices drums at midnight. A text lights up my phone screen. The gutters need replacing. Send $1,200 by Friday. Ed. I open my banking app, my finger hovering over the transfer button, just as I've done countless times before. My gaze drifts around my apartment. The patched IKEA furniture, the outdated microwave that takes 3 minutes to heat a cup of coffee, the single good suit I wear to client meetings, washing it by hand to make it last. The realization dawns slowly, then all at once, settling into my bones with cold clarity. They never saw me as a daughter. I was just an ATM. I close the app without making the transfer. Almost immediately, my phone buzzes again. Did you get my message? Need the money by Friday. Then another, Audrey. And another, your mother is worried about the gutters. Olas. I set my phone face down on the table, and, for the first time in 4 years, I ignore it. 12 weeks have passed since I stopped paying the mortgage. 12 weeks of relative peace, shattered by an artillery barrage of guilt from my extended family. 20 voicemails, 43 texts, 17 emails, each one more desperate than the last. The certified foreclosure notice arrives exactly 3 months after I stop payments. My parents forward a photo of it to my email, subject line. See what you've done. The official letterhead is crisp and formal. The message beneath it clinical. Notice of default. I expect the call immediately. I'm not disappointed. You need to transfer $112,000 immediately to cover the missed payments and late fees, my father demands. I don't have $112,000 to give you. You work at Harbour and Stein. We know what they pay, he snaps. Fix this by tomorrow, or don't consider yourself our daughter. I feel a strange sense of calm wash over me. I haven't been your daughter for years, I say softly. I've been your investment. I hang up before they can respond. Logan's Facebook post appears that afternoon. My sister is trying to make my pregnant fiancé homeless. Share if you think family should come before greed. The comments flood in, condemning me. Distant relatives, family friends, high school acquaintances, all rushing to judge me. Part of me wants to respond, to lay out every receipt, every mortgage payment, every sacrifice I made. Instead, I block Logan, tighten my privacy settings, and move on. You've made remarkable progress, Samantha, my financial planner, says 6 months later, sliding a financial statement across her desk. For the first time in years, I smile. I scan the document again, still not quite believing the numbers. Is this right? I've already saved nearly $25,000. She nods, her professional demeanor softening into a smile. Yes, and your credit score has increased by 48 points since we started the recovery plan. You'll likely qualify for your own mortgage within 18 months. My own mortgage. My own home. The thought sends a jolt of excitement through me. Let's look at neighborhoods within your target price range, she suggests, turning her monitor towards me. Based on your savings rate and the current market, these areas would be great starting points. I lean forward, studying the map with growing anticipation. For the first time, I'm planning for my future, not paying for someone else's. As I leave her office, my steps feel lighter than they have in years. The foreclosure notice arrives exactly 6 months after my last payment. I don't see it myself. My parents make sure I know through a flood of increasingly frantic calls. Foreclosure. My mother whispers like it's a fatal diagnosis. The bank is taking the house in 90 days unless we pay $188,400. At work, the calls become hourly. I finally silence my phone during a client meeting, only to emerge and find 3 voicemails from Logan's fiancé. We're about to have a baby, she pleads, her voice trembling. Please help us, Audrey. We have nowhere else to go. I start drafting a firm but gentle response when my assistant buzzes my office intercom. Miss Chen, your father is here. He's insisting on seeing you. My heart pounds. Tell him I'm in a meeting. I've never told my colleagues about my family's situation. Shame kept me silent while I built a wall between my work life and personal chaos. But that wall shatters when my father's voice echoes down the hallway, growing louder as he approaches my office. I need to see my daughter. She can't hide from her responsibilities. Through my office window, I see him, red-faced and disheveled, arguing with security. "Sir, you need to leave," the guard insists. "Ungrateful child," my father shouts as he's escorted to the elevator. "After everything we've done for you." I sink into my chair, humiliation washing over me. My carefully constructed professional image is gone in an instant. A knock at my door makes me jump. Samuel Russell, my boss. He doesn't look angry, just concerned. "Audrey," he says gently, closing the door behind him. "I understand now what you've been dealing with." I open my mouth to apologize, to explain, but he shakes his head. "Take the rest of the day off. And Audrey, whatever's happening with your family, don't let it derail what you've built here. You've earned your place." As the door closes behind him, something shifts inside me. The foreclosure process has begun, and my family is facing the consequences of their actions. But for the first time in my adult life, I'm not drowning in guilt. A text arrives on my phone, a victory flag. Final notice. Property at 1423 Oakwood Lane scheduled for repossession in 7 days. 8 months since I stopped payments, and the legal process is complete. My mother's response arrives minutes later. "We have 30 days to vacate. Are you happy now?" I stare at her words, testing them against the knot in my stomach. Am I happy? Well, relieved. Maybe. 3 days later, another message from my father. "Logan and Melissa are moving in with us. The apartment is too small. I hope you're satisfied seeing your family suffer." I close my eyes, take a deep breath, and delete the message without replying. At a charity auction, I represent Harper & Stein, my firm's logo pinned to my lapel. It's my first public event since the foreclosure. "Audrey, is that you?" Mrs. Patel, my mother's book club friend, approaches with a flute of champagne. I brace for judgment. "How are you, dear? It's been ages." Her smile is warm, not the tight grimace I expected. "I'm well, thank you." She glances around, then leans in. "I heard about the house. Such a shame. You know, Logan refused to get a second job to help with the payments." My eyebrows lift. "He did." She nods, pearl earrings swinging. "At the last book club before your mother moved, she was complaining about the foreclosure. Someone asked why Logan couldn't step up. She said, 'That's what sisters are for. She can afford it.'" The words land like a stone in my stomach. "Melissa's parents weren't happy either," Mrs. Patel continues. "He's still buying expensive gaming systems, even while moving into their guest room with a newborn." I swallow hard, finally having confirmation of what I suspected all along. "You did the right thing, dear." Mrs. Patel pats my arm. "Some lessons need to be learned the hard way." 6 months of financial independence stretch behind me. Each day, a brick in the wall I've built between myself and financial exploitation. My spreadsheets now track growth instead of loss. "This property has great potential," the real estate agent says, gesturing to the kitchen. "The neighborhood has appreciated 12% in the last 3 years." I run my hand along the countertop, imagining morning coffee here. The townhouse costs less than half of what I paid for my parents' house. The down payment is ready. Money saved during months of freedom from their financial demands. "The owners are motivated," she continues. "Your pre-approval puts you in a strong position." I look out at the small patio. Truly mine. If I choose to make an offer. The key feels different in my palm, lighter somehow. The door swings open to reveal gleaming hardwood floors. Not the engineered wood from the house I paid for but never owned. This is the real thing. Imperfect but perfect. "Home," I whisper. The word is unfamiliar but right. Memories of moving day flood back. Jennifer and Mia hauling boxes, laughing about my book collection. My boss, Sam, surprising me with a toolbox. Every homeowner needs one. People who wanted nothing from me but my happiness. On the mantel, a simple frame reads, "Freedom. Established 2023. Gift from Mia. A reminder that I built this life on my own terms. And I won't give it up for anyone."